Alright, so after 2 months of using it as my daily driver, here are the top 5 features that stand out to me about the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But before that, let me break down its key features and specifications first. The iPhone 15 Pro Max features a new titanium frame, slightly thinner, and is 19 grams lighter. The base model now starts with 256GB of internal storage and comes with a new A17 Pro chip. The iconic ring/silent switch is now replaced with the highly customizable action button. The camera system is essentially the same, but with an upgraded periscope telephoto lens supporting up to 5x optical zoom. The Wi-Fi is now Wi-Fi 6E and features a second-generation ultra-wideband chip. The battery is now slightly bigger with a 4,441 mAh capacity, but most importantly, we now have a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C port with DisplayPort support. This means it can now handle up to 10 GB per second speed and is compatible with most USB-C accessories for gaming, content creation, and productivity. Aside from that, everything else is essentially identical to the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Like I said, I'll share with you my top 5 features of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but I'm also going to share with you the rest of my thoughts about it coming from just the previous generation iPhone 14 Pro Max. With that being said, let's get into it. As always, honest disclaimer, this video is not paid, but Beyond the Box Philippines generously provided a sample for me to experience. They will not review this video, actually they never did in any of my videos, and you'll see this at the same time as you'll do. I'll put some links below if you're interested. Now, the first feature that stands out to me the most about the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the new lighter and thinner titanium frame. It's definitely a breath of fresh air, especially with this new blue titanium variant. For the most part, it looks the same as the previous iPhone 14 Pro Max, with just subtle differences like the noticeable accent lining around the cameras, the matte finish across all sides, the new action button, and of course, the highly anticipated USB Type-C port. It is also slightly lighter, which is always a nice bonus. This new titanium chassis certainly hits differently, but to be perfectly honest with you, it's more like a gimmick to make us feel like there's a significant upgrade, but it really doesn't matter much, especially if you're just going to slap a case on it. Speaking of the case, thankfully, it fits almost perfectly with my old iPhone 14 Pro Max cases. It is snug and all the buttons and ports are nicely aligned except for the action button. It's still easily accessible, so no worries at all. Before we move on to the next one on the list, let's take a look around first. In front, we have a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display with crispy 460 pixels per inch density and supports ProMotion technology up to 120Hz refresh rate. It is also color accurate with up to 2000 nits peak brightness and has thin and symmetrical bezels all around. Brightness levels are definitely ample even on a bright sunny day. We still have that pill-shaped dynamic island with all its bells and whistles, although at this point, I no longer feel the spark or excitement that I felt when I first experienced it. I'm still amazed by how fluid it is and still definitely appreciative of all it brings to the table, both in terms of style and convenience. Things like quick access to recently used apps like maps, timers, and music players, and the convenience of having some sort of info that you can quickly glance at without opening the app entirely. And one thing that I'm particularly fond of is the quick info for Grab deliveries. And with the iOS 17 update, we can now take advantage of the improved always-on display when docked on a MagSafe charger. It's still quite limited, but for what it's worth, it is second to none. Lastly, here in front, alongside the dynamic island, we still have the 12-megapixel true-depth selfie camera. Moving on, looking at the left side, we still have the individual volume buttons and the new action button. More on that in a minute. On the right side, we just have the side button. Up top, we don't have anything here aside from the antenna line, but at the bottom, we have the speakers and the new USB Type-C port. More on this later as well. At the back, we have the familiar design with a triple camera setup. We still have the same 48-megapixel main camera, 12-megapixel ultra-wide-angle lens, and a 12-megapixel telephoto lens. But now, the optical zoom has been bumped up to 5x with 3D sensor shift OIS. Alright, so with the parts overview out of the way, the second thing that stands out to me about the new iPhone 15 Pro Max is of course the action button. On the surface, it seems like this is not a groundbreaking upgrade since most people will still use it as a silent/ring button. But now at least we have some sort of flexibility depending on each individual's preference, plus it really works well with the dynamic island. You can use it for standard silent/ring mode to switch between focus modes, use it as a shutter button to turn on the flashlight, record voice memos, for the magnifier, shortcuts and accessibility, and you can also choose to disable it if you decide to do so. Personally, I think the most powerful tool here is using it for shortcuts. You can use it to quickly open an application, quickly call a favorite contact, set a timer, play music, and other useful tools. But personally, I use it for my smart home shortcuts. With this, I can easily toggle my most used smart home devices like my studio lights. It works really well with a very satisfying animation alongside the fancy dynamic island. Now, the third feature that stands out to me about the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the improved camera features with the 5x telephoto lens. For starters, you no longer have to switch to portrait mode. It will automatically detect a person, a dog, or a cat, and you will have the option to adjust the depth of field or background blur via the Photos app, which is definitely an appreciated quality of life improvement. Less time to tinker with the settings and just focus on the shot. Aside from that, with this new camera system, you essentially have up to 7 lenses with the macro, 0.5x ultra-wide, 1x 24mm, 28mm, and 35mm, 2x 48mm, and the new 5x 120mm, which you can even extend up to 25x via digital zoom. We also have the option to capture RAW photos with RAW Max. The image quality coming from this set of cameras is still one of the best out of a smartphone. The dynamic range is really wide with outstanding contrast, sharpness, and details. The colors are quite natural with just enough image processing to make the details, shadows, and contrast pop. This is one of the reasons why I rarely bring my mirrorless camera outdoors anymore, as I honestly feel the image quality coming from this phone is substantial enough for capturing family moments and for sharing on social media platforms. I also love the video quality with outstanding optical image stabilization. Game! Whee! Oh, you farted! You farted! Season naman daw, mami. Ay, swing pala, swing. Oh, sit down ka daw. Sit down ka daw. Game, Gio. Swing. Daddy then? Daddy then? Okay, okay. Now, the fourth thing that I really like and I'm excited about the iPhone 15 Pro Max is of course the highly anticipated USB Type-C port. iPhone users have been waiting for this for God knows how long, and it's nice that we finally got it. This opens up a ton of possibilities and use case scenarios for the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I can now use my super reliable Ugreen USB Type-C cables for faster charging and data transfers. I can now use my Ugreen external M.2 SSD and directly record videos into it. I'm no longer limited to portable MagSafe power banks that, while convenient, are certainly slower than wired charging, and I can even use the Momax iPower PD3 power bank with a built-in Type-C cable that came as a freebie when I got the iPhone 15 Pro Max from beyond the box. Also included in the freebies is this tiny 20W charger from Momax. Now, the USB Type-C port on the iPhone 15 Pro Max supports up to 10GB per second speed. However, the included cable only supports USB 2 speeds, so getting a faster cable like this one from Ugreen is a must if you want to take advantage of that speed. Aside from that, reverse charging is also supported here, so you can charge your other devices like wireless earbuds, smartwatches, or even another smartphone. Now, last but definitely not the least, I also appreciate that we have a new and more powerful A17 Pro chip here. Powerful enough, capable of running AAA titles like the Resident Evil Village. This is absolutely mind-blowing. We're talking about PC and console level graphics on a smartphone. And it runs relatively smoothly, although to be quite honest, it does get toasty. But still, it's amazing to see this kind of performance on a freaking smartphone. I cannot wait to try other AAA titles here like the upcoming Assassin's Creed Mirage, Death Stranding, The Division Resurgence, and others. Of course, it goes without saying that it can easily handle any existing mobile games out in the market at the maximum settings. Playing Call of Duty Mobile on this phone is an absolute treat. You can definitely feel the smoothness and responsiveness with outstanding graphics quality without any performance hit. I'm even considering buying a gamepad, especially now that we've got more options thanks to the USB Type-C port. Playing Genshin Impact on this phone is amazing. I mean, the highest graphics at 120 FPS is just eye candy. Again, it does get toasty, so slapping a cooler here wouldn't be such a bad idea, right? The image quality is really nice. No jagged edges, no pixelated artifacts, just a smooth and enjoyable experience. Unfortunately, even with the top-of-the-line smartphone like this, ultra resolution is still not supported in Diablo Immortal, but at least 60 FPS and high graphics settings are available. And yeah, the gaming experience is really smooth with stunning graphics and animations. Now, even though you can run Mobile Legends pretty much on a potato, playing it at maximum graphics settings and frame rate still gives that overall better experience. And if you want a more laid-back game just to pass the time, a casual game like Phoenix 2 is the way to go. Now, with the whopping 1.4 million score in Antutu benchmark, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is definitely one of the most powerful smartphones out in the market. Here are the rest of the benchmarks that I ran for your perusal. And there you have it guys. Let me know in the comments below what is your top 5 features of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now, I didn't want to create a full review because to be perfectly honest with you, coming from just the previous iPhone 14 Pro Max, I didn't find the changes or upgrades significant enough. If you're coming from an iPhone 12 Pro Max and above, you might want to skip this unless you're really itching to do so. But if you're coming from an iPhone 11 and below, then you'll definitely appreciate all the new features and better overall performance. Thank you for watching. Huge thanks to Beyond the Box for the sweet deal. Again, all my thoughts on this video are my honest opinion about the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I'll put some links below if you're interested. And now that we've just tackled one of the best, if not the best smartphones out in the market, why not check out one of the best gaming laptop that money can get by clicking this. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you appreciate this video, and see you next time. Have a great day guys, you're always awesome.